Welcome to the Community Sports Club Good Governance Workshop run by Sport North East. I'd just like to make an acknowledgement of country. First of all, Sport North East acknowledges the traditional owners and their custodianship of the lands on which we meet. We pay our respects to their ancestors and their descendants who continue cultural and spiritual connection to country. We recognise their valuable contribution to Australian and global society. So first of all, just quickly going to give an introduction to Sport North East and what we do. So Sport North East is one of 9 regional sport assemblies in the state of Victoria. Our core purpose is to support people of all ages and abilities in North East Victorian communities to live an active lifestyle and participate in sport and active recreation. So this workshop will be covering good governance. Essentially, we'll go through a few main aspects of what good governance is to start with, committee essentials, effective governance, and then moving more into the legality and legal issues that come with sporting clubs in Victoria. So first of all, what is good governance? Governance is the system by which your club is controlled and how your club manages its resources to good effect for both members and for stakeholders. No club can ignore best practice governance if it's serious about confronting future challenges and seizing future opportunities, including grants and various funding opportunities. So improving your club's governance systems and practices will lead to a range of positive benefits and opportunities. First of all, going to get stuck into committee members and what makes a good committee. So the size of a committee will depend on the size of the club and how many members the club has, how many participants, how many volunteers the club has, but it should always include the 3 main positions of president, secretary and treasurer. So the president is the principal leader of the club and has overall say and responsibilities in administration. The secretary is the key administrator of the club and records all decisions made, and the treasurer focuses on the financial side of the club and reports and monitors on all financials and transactions. In addition to those positions, extra positions include vice president, registrar, and other general committee members. Each position that's filled within the committee should also include a position description. These are really important tools to help define and provide clarity around the responsibilities of each role. They can be easily found online, and we will include a few examples for you in the resource package provided with the workshop. The committee structure should also reflect a diverse range of skills and abilities, including business management, accounting, legal, strategic, marketing, and other club-related activity skills. It should also include a diverse makeup of age, ethnicity, gender, and so on. Each committee member also has a duty to act in the best interest of the club. So when looking for committee members, a few key attributes to look out for are a commitment to mission and values of the club, an interest in the club's well-being, strong leadership skills, good judgment and listening skills, good strategic vision, and good communication skills. So committee induction, it's really important for each new committee member to go through an induction process in order to get a clear and comprehensive understanding of the club. An induction pack guidance sheet is included within the resource pack for you to refer to after this workshop has concluded. So the induction process can help in various ways, such as providing new committee members with a stronger understanding and commitment to mission and visions of your club. It can also help provide a defined understanding on roles and responsibilities and increase the transparency and awareness within the club. Now I'll just list a few of the main roles and responsibilities of committee members. So first off, They must set objectives, define policy, and develop strategic direction. I'll go into more of a discussion about the strategic direction later on, but it's really important that committees are able to sit down together and plan out the club's direction, as this will set clubs up for success in the future. Committees must also incorporate good governance and ethical standards into daily activities. They must monitor the performance of the organisation against the agreed goals, manage communication with members and other key stakeholders, including state sporting associations or SSAs, government stakeholders, sponsors, and so on. They must ensure all risks are identified and managed properly, and they must clearly identify board and management responsibilities. Just continuing on from that, board members must also ensure compliance with policies, laws and regulations. Again, I'll go into more detail about the legal commitments of clubs later on. Committees must emphasise and concentrate on long-term goals, approve, monitor and review the financial performance of the organisation, drive the club culture and ensure expectations are met, ensure that sporting, competitive and social needs of members are met, and create and implement a succession plan for all roles within the club. So here we're just going to look at committee structure and an organisation chart. So no matter the size of your organisation, a really good tool to have is the simple organisation chart. Establishing an organisation chart will help clarify the structure of the committee. It should be clear, it should be simple, it should provide details of subcommittees, and it should be accessible to all members, volunteers and stakeholders. It should also be reviewed at least twice, at least every 2 years, sorry. So just looking at establishing committee. So when establishing a committee or appointing individuals to a role within the committee, there's a few steps you should go through. So first of all, your club's constitution will stipulate how the committee is appointed. Most club committees are elected at an AGM. A committee should operate as a team and work towards a common goal by drawing on the skills and talents of each other. It is important to recognise these skills and talents, but also establish the types of skills that you may want in the future, or the types of skills that may be required in the future. This is just so you can potentially identify individuals who would fit well into your committee. Given the level of responsibility the committee holds, it is vital that every member has a diverse set of skills and abilities that they need to carry out the role. Club committees need to ensure all members receive the necessary induction, training and ongoing support needed to fulfil roles. This is where succession plans and introduction plans really come necessary. So this concludes the bit of a workshop that focuses on committee basics. A quick summary of it tells us that committees are really the backbone of sports clubs. And they have wide and varied responsibilities, including setting objectives, defining policy and developing strategic direction. They also need to ensure compliance with policies, laws and regulations. Committees must also be organised and made up of a diverse set of skills and experience. So now we're going to move on to the effective governance section of the workshop. So this focuses on what your club can do and what you can do to be most effective in your governance processes. So a really important part of a successfully run club is its committee's ability to ensure effective governance processes. These include, but are not limited to, knowing and understanding each committee member's specific job description. These job descriptions are freely available online and yet again will be included in the resource package provided to you. Effective governance also includes a review of your constitution and strategic plan. This is imperative to ensure targets, goals, values and visions are being met throughout the year. These reviews should be planned well in advance, which leads me on to my next step, which is long-term organisational management and long-term organisational skills. So Don't plan to review every document in one go. It will be exhausting. Instead, plan to review documents at various times throughout the year to space it out and make it easier on you and easier on the committee. The last point I have there is just board solidarity. So a governing board in the eyes of the law is viewed as a single legal person, which means it can only have one opinion at any one time. So having everyone on the same page is really imperative to a healthy functioning committee and functioning club. Now, just going to move on to a few strategies that we recommend you implement to make meetings more effective. So first off, we have set clear objectives for the meetings, set an agenda and circulate in advance, allocate time to the agenda to cover topics in sufficient detail, let attendees know the date, time and venue as early as possible, decide who should attend based on meeting types and topics, ask attendees to RSVP so you know who to expect, send out a reminder a few days before the meeting, assign roles for the meeting, such as someone to write minutes. And it's also very important to remember to take accurate meeting minutes and record these. A critical part of effective governance is also the undertaking of a committee performance evaluation. So the evaluation process enables committees to obtain feedback on its overall performance so that opportunities for ongoing development and ongoing improvement can be identified. The process provides boards with a comprehensive evaluation and assessment tool to measure a broad range of governance practices with a specific aim to monitor overall board performance and identify skill gaps, identify opportunities for further improvement and development, assist boards to assess and measure the inclusiveness of key governance practices, and demonstrate to members and stakeholders that the board continually strives for improvement in governance best practice. A board performance evaluation resource will be provided to you within the resource package as well. And to conclude the effective governance section of the workshop, we're just going to have a quick look at strategic planning and what the strategic planning goals of your sport club should look like. So I guess it goes without saying that a strategic plan is going to assist sports clubs to develop a systematic plan and process to meet the club's desired goals. It's a really important tool to create a clear vision, clear goals, clear objectives, and clear priorities. Sport North East have a strategic plan resource to assist you. It goes through each step of the plan and gives you a clear idea on how to create an effective strategic plan for the future. So now we're moving on to the legalities surrounding community sport and what it means to be incorporated as a sporting club. So first of all, being incorporated is highly recommended. Incorporating separates the individual person or member from the entity and makes the group a single entity within certain rights and legal protections, as well as some additional obligations. It's voluntary, it's simple, it's inexpensive, and it's highly recommended. Benefits from being incorporated include the ability to sue and be sued, the protection of individual board members from financial loss. It enables appropriate risk taking. And there's also a few risks for clubs that are not incorporated. So for example, the law does not recognise a club as existing in a legal sense unless a club is incorporated. So legal rights and obligations would fall onto individuals. And if the club is not incorporated, they are not covered by certain insurances such as public liability insurance. Being incorporated can also bring you many more benefits to you and your club, such as the ability to apply for more grants and get more funding assistance. If you need any further information on how to become incorporated, then get in contact with Sport North East and we'll happily help you and guide you through that process. Now, just looking at constitutions, the constitution of an incorporated body is a legal document that can usually only be changed by a specifically convened general meeting, and in some cases the AGM, or the annual general meeting. The committee usually draws on its authorities from the club constitution. Most constitutions are general, but they do require the club to develop an agreed statement of purpose outlining its overall objectives. The Constitution is a useful document for defining the authority that flows to and from the committee and provides the club rules and obligations of the committee and its members. At a minimum, the Constitution must be relevant to the club and reviewed at least every 5 years. There are many general constitution templates provided by state sporting associations that can be adopted to your club. There are also a few just general templates that you'd be able to find online if you require. Constitutions are also a requirement of incorporated clubs. Now, looking at a few legal issues, legal issues really are very wide and varied within sporting clubs. As the industry has become more professional, the laws surrounding sport have also become more complex and challenging for those involved, especially on the volunteers at the club. So you should be aware of some of the more common legal issues, and if necessary, definitely seek expert legal advice to minimise the potential conflicts associated with running your club. Your club has an obligation to provide an environment that ensures the safety and well-being of every member. This includes being free from harassment and discrimination. And this also plays into the policies and procedures section. So your club will have many different policies, many different procedures that you need to or may implement. And that's regardless of your size. It's always important to have a set number of policies and procedures in place. They are generally used to provide organisations guidance in decision making and transparency. And again, lots of policies, lots of procedures can be taken from your state sporting association, or just general policies can be found online, and you're able to adapt them to your club as you need. A few examples are the member protection policy, child safe policy, the fair play code, the code of conduct. These are all just a few examples of policies your club might have in place. And again, these need to be reviewed, but space it out over the year. Review one at a time. Don't review them all in one go, as you will just be exhausted, as I mentioned earlier. It's also really important to remember that policies are only as good as the people following them. It is critical to follow the policies you have put in place and to make them available to all members and volunteers at your club. This is an extremely important tool in a successfully run club. All complaints should be taken seriously and no one should be ignored in the process. A clearly set out complaint handling procedure or policy should be easy to access for all members. An organisation's member protection policy will describe options and procedures for dealing with complaints. If the club doesn't have a member protection policy, then the SSA, the State Sporting Association policy will apply. Clubs, if possible, should also have a member protection information officer who will help manage complaints. If there's no member protection information officer, then somebody should be identified to help manage complaints. The role of the member protection information officer is to provide support for the person making the complaint, give information on the process, and offer solutions, but they do not investigate the complaint. So child safe standards now. Child safety is a huge part of running a successful sports club, and I expect all clubs would be meeting the current 7 standards. But if you're unaware, there is a little more work to come in the future. There will be new child safe standards being introduced from July 1st. We'll have a workshop on these standards shortly, but basically we'll be moving from 7 standards to 11 standards to be more in line with national child safe standards. Committees also have particular risk management obligations. In terms of their management of their club, committees should ensure that their club, including the board and subcommittees, comply with all legislative requirements. For example, this includes reporting, lodging and accounting requirements. The committee should ensure the club's constitution is clearly drafted and has clear purposes. If safety of activities is a purpose of the club, it should be expressly stated in the rules. And they should develop a management system to adapt to developments and changing trends in sports management and administration requirements. A few benefits of risk management include better sporting and recreation outcomes, improved safety for participants, officials, spectators and volunteers, lower costs and increased budget certainty, more effective management of assets, events, programs and activities, improved compliance with the law, regulations and other formal requirements. So just looking at insurance, insurance is an important part of risk management. It's essentially a risk management transfer tool. So that means you're taking the risk away from the club, essentially, and transferring it to another party, or that being the insurer. So types of legal claims likely to be made at a community sport club include negligence. So this would be personal injury or fall under some decisions made. So negligence against the club, its members, officers, officials, coaches and volunteers. There's criminal liability, so this includes claims for sexual offences and discrimination. Employment liability, so this includes claims such as unfair dismissal. And the last one that I have there is just occupational health and safety. So that pretty much concludes the workshop now. I'm just going to run through a few or 10 guiding principles of good governance. So if you don't take anything else from this workshop, take these 10 guiding principles of good governance that can put you in a really good position for your club to succeed. So the first one being have clarity around the roles and responsibilities of your club. Have a good board structure and composition, have the right people for the role. Purpose and strategy, have an appropriate vision, purpose and set of strategies, so that includes the strategic plan. Risk management, so recognise and manage the appropriate risks. Organisation and performance, board effectiveness, integrity and accountability. Organisational building. Number 9 is culture and ethics. And the last one is engagement, so being able to effectively engage with your stakeholders. So again, I mentioned a few times in the workshop, but a resource package will be available to you on the Sport Northeast website. It has a few resources such as how to run an effective meeting, what to do, induction processes, and how your committee can be most effective. There's also includes a few examples of position descriptions, and then there's some really important and really useful strategic planning resources available to you. So thank you for watching the workshop. Again, reach out to anyone, reach out to your state sporting organisations, look online for resources, network with other clubs, and of course come to us Our email is on screen, our website's on screen, and if you need anyone to contact, Pranav is a great point of reference, a very knowledgeable person, and will be able to point you in the right direction if you need any help there. Thanks.